And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Whew. Rain. Howdy folks, I'm Darren. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles here at Cross Timbers Farm. Glad to have you with us on this rainy, cold day. It's in the mid-40s and it's late October, almost November, and it's a rainy day. And we are expecting rain according to the weather forecast for the next 3 days on top of today. We're supposed to get up to an inch of rain today, and for the next several days, rain in the forecast. It's going to be hard to get anything done outside, especially today. Today's supposed to be the rainiest day, and rain tomorrow, and then some on and off rain the couple of days after. So what do you do on a farm on a day like today? You do inside stuff, and we are going right now. You can see I've got in the vehicle, and I'm not driving a truck, I'm driving my wife Susan's vehicle because it's got a little more inside room than my old farm truck. Now, I'm not talking about my new GMC 2500, but my old farm truck. And I've got to go by the grocery store and pick up a few things for her, so I needed some more dry space than my old farm truck. But while I'm out, I'm going to the parts store, auto parts. It is time to change the oil and the oil filter and clean the air filter on our Honda Foreman 500 four-wheel drive four-wheeler. That thing is a workhorse on our farm, and we try to take care of it to make it last as long as it will. And it's time to change the oil and the filter in that four-wheeler, and we're going to go pick up some oil and a filter. And over the weekend, today's a Monday, and over the weekend I stopped at a Kubota dealership. We went to a neighboring town and where there's a Kubota dealership that I'm familiar with, and we bought filters for the hydraulic transmission and the oil filter for the engine for our tractor, and we'll be changing the oil and filters in our tractor soon too. The hydraulic fluid in our tractor is not ready to be changed just yet. There's no need in wasting fluid when it don't need changed, but I'm going to go ahead and change the filter on the transmission on the tractor. And when you do that, you'll lose some fluid, but we're going to use a shop vac to pull a vacuum on the back of it so we don't lose as much. But we're going to change both filters on the tractor and the engine oil. We're getting some good rain today. It has been really dry here lately. We've had, goodness, a month probably of very dry conditions here in our area. And the traffic, we live in a very rural area, small town, and we don't live in town, we live out in the country. And the traffic in this small area which we live, ever since Hurricane Helene, the amount of traffic on the road has probably tripled. And there stands a deer right on the edge of the road. The amount of traffic in our area on our roads has tripled or quadrupled ever since. It's unreal. And I don't know why. Our population in this area too has really boomed since Hurricane Helene. Every other vehicle you pass on the road in my area nowadays is from out of state. Okay, we're back in the car from the auto parts store. Look at this little bitty filter. That's what goes in that Honda Foreman. Ain't that unreal? And that little bitty filter, it's about the size of a $50 or a silver dollar. It's like 15 bucks. Unreal. And this is probably one of the cheapest auto parts stores around. If you went to Napa or somewhere like that, it'd probably been $30. But anyway, we were talking about all the traffic in our area since Hurricane Helene. And I've heard a lot of locals talking about the influx of people and traffic in this area. And the consensus is a lot of folks came in here with disaster relief groups and stuff, and they saw the beauty of our area and how friendly the people were in our area, and a lot of them just decided, you know what, I'm moving here. This is a beautiful area, I'm just moving here. And then I think a whole lot of it, shamefully, is that folks came in with a lot of different organizations and stuff, and people had disasters and properties ruined and homes ruined, and a lot of property was just destroyed. And a lot of these folks just moved in and bought up a lot of this property from folks that was desperate for cheap prices, which is, if that's true, that's shameful. Shame on them for taking advantage of folks that were in a bad situation, buying up properties dirt cheap right after a disaster because people were in dire need. But I've not seen that firsthand, but I've heard that. I've heard rumors of that. Just as short as 5 years ago, you could drive around this area, and during the summer we have a pretty big tourist influx of people that want to come to the mountains and see the mountains. And in the fall of the year, the leaves changing and all that, and that's been around as long as I've been alive. But all through last winter, this spring, summer, now into mid-fall, every other vehicle you pass on the road in these little towns is an out-of-state tag. Texas, Oklahoma, Nevada. And you know, if tourists were coming around, it's a free country, move as you want to move. We go visit places, but it's like they're here all the time. They've never left. And you know, if you're going to be a good neighbor and move in and don't try to change the area to be like where it was you came from, there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. Matter of fact, you know, welcome you with open arms. But if you move here and you bought property just to take advantage of somebody's misfortune, and then try to get on the town council or the town board or whatever and start changing things from what made this area special, changing it into what you came from to get away from, then, you know, just pack your crap and go back home. Go back where you came from. I wouldn't move to some small town in Texas if I liked it there and start trying to change them, trying to get elected to their town boards and different things and start trying to change how they do things. If I'm going to move there and I like that area, then I need to adapt to their ways, because that's what makes that area special. If I don't like the way they do things, then I shouldn't move there. But our population in this area has just boomed since Hurricane Helene. Traffic on the roads has quadrupled. The stores have 4 times the amount of people in them. It's just kind of mind-boggling. And you know, we sit and scratch your head why, and you talk to family and some of your local folks and all, you know, where's all these people coming from? Why are they? I understand why we had this huge influx of people during the storm and right after for disaster relief help, all these folks coming in, and that was very, very much appreciated. But most of them never left. A lot of them is still here, and they've bought properties and moving in. And you know what, if you got good morals and you're a good person and you don't try to change things, then you're welcomed with open arms. But when you move in, you start trying to change things. Well, I don't like the way y'all do this, or I don't like the way that, you know, the town government or the county government does this. It needs to be different, blah, blah, blah. Trying to change things. Then you know what? Just pack your stuff up and go back where you came from. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. Wow. Back in out of the rain from the grocery store. This place is packed. Our little town, like I was talking about earlier, didn't used to have near this much people. It's packed now. You'd think this is a lot bigger town than it is with the amount of people here. I'm not used to driving my wife's vehicle here. Just trying to turn the radio off and turn the power off. Turn the engine off. We've done all of our errands for the day, hopefully for the week. Okay, we are back home. Thanks for going with us on some errand runs. I'll be back with you. Well, it's the next day. Goodness gracious, has it turned cold weather. We have had cold like you wouldn't believe for this time of year. For it to go from being, you know, nice and warm out, and of course last week we were at the coast of North Carolina at the beach, and the temperatures is in the upper 70s to close to 80. And we get back home and it is cold here in the mountains. You can see I've got my winter jacket on. We went from, you know, beach temperatures to now, today it's not got out of the 40s. I think we're finally up to 49. It's a cold day, and it rained all day yesterday. You seen when we went to the auto parts store and got some supplies. It's just been rainy and cold, and finally the rain has stopped for a while today. But the forecast says rain is coming back later this afternoon or evening for about all day tomorrow. But it's a cold rain. It's like 48, 49 degrees hovering around, and there's a slight breeze, and there's no sun, very overcast. And it's just damp feeling, really damp, that kind of damp that just kind of sinks into your bones. 48, 49 degrees is, you know, in January it'd be warm weather. It's fall of the year, and cooler temperatures are to be expected, I guess, but it seems like it just went from summer to winter really fast with the temperatures. But anyway, it's fall of the year, and our hay season's over. We're getting ready to go into winter, and it's time to start maintenance in hay equipment and getting everything done through the winter. We're going to be changing fluids in our tractor, fluids in the four-wheeler, putting together a new piece of hay equipment. But today's kind of a rainy, wet day. The ground's really wet, and I don't want to lay up under a tractor in this wet ground, or the four-wheeler either. So today, we're going to go to the barn, and we're going to clean out the bale door, that skin on the back of the bale door, between the bale door skin and the rollers. Hay gets trapped in there really bad. I've done videos on it before on how to do it. Well, we're going to get that done today. I've not done it yet, and it needs done. We don't want that hay just to sit between that bell door metal and the rollers all winter, so we're gonna go get that out. We done a modification on that. I guess it was last winter with zip ties to make it easier to get off, and I'm happy to report that that zip tie shade tree fix done wonderful. It worked perfect all summer, so that was a hit. We got some more zip ties, and we're gonna go get that cover off and clean all that hay out for the winter, so next spring it's ready to hit the ground running. So come with us. All right, we're gonna start taking this cover off. First thing we got to do is close off the hydraulics. And remove the hydraulic arm. Pretty simple thing to do. Just anytime you take this off, just make sure you're turning the valve off so it don't lose its position. All right, let's remove this bolt. I'm gonna stick this back through it just so we don't lose nothing. Okay, prop it back out of your way. Okay, we got 3 bolts here. Got to be removed. What I'm gonna do is let this back down and hold that guard back. All right, we got our 2 side panels off, the back panels. And now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts to move, and this back panel will come right off. All right. And they do have a nut on the back of them, so you have to, and it is a lock nut. This is pretty important to do. I'm telling you, hay sitting in that bale skin all fall and winter and most of the spring can attract moisture, and the next thing you know, you got some rust in there. This will take you 30 minutes or so to do, but it's well worth doing. Maintain your equipment best you can. All right, let's go to the other side, and then this will come off. And these are nylon lock nuts, which is a good thing. Redland's done a good job building these builders. If you watched our video on how we modified this thing, one of the drawbacks to this baler is those tabs. If you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it, where I talk about the tabs that hold these back doors. It's part of the door and part of the side panel. Man, that is a crappy design. But other than that, this is a fantastic baler. And I really like the net wrap balers, but it is what it is. Okay, 1 to go. I bet the back of this baler is packed with hay between this bale door cover and the rollers. Okay, we're off. Here it goes. Oh, wow, look at that. A whole pile of it just fell out. When I opened the back door, all that just fell out. But you look how much of it they are. Wow. It just went kapoom and fell right out. All right, we'll get the hay rake and get that out of there. Look at the rest of it. That's why you clean it. Packed in there. I mean, literally packed. We've got our baler cleaned out. It's clean for the winter and it looks good. Everything appears to be in really good shape. Now we're going to start reassembling. We got it clean. And the next thing we're going to do with this baler is probably build us a bale catcher. I'm going to put it together. I'm not a welder, so I'm going to put it together with just some bolts and build one and get it to where I want it, then take it to a welding shop and say, build me this. Right here, weld it all up, and so it's not got bolts and nuts in it. But that's a project for another day. Let's get started putting this back together, and it's really, really simple. Just go in reverse. That's all there really are to it. It'll just kind of hang there a little bit until we get a bolt or two in it. This little shade tree modification I made makes this job a whole lot easier. This went from being a hour job with those tabs to 30 minutes at the most. All right, all that's back on. The skin is back on, or the cover. Now all we got to do is replace our side panels and use our zip ties. All these zip ties do in the back is keep the back panels from just rattling, and it's pretty simple. Okay, reinstall our hydraulic arm and we're done. Good enough. All right, I'm just going to leave this shut off for the winter. All right, we're done. Pretty simple task, an important task. Take care of your equipment and it will take care of you. Thanks for being with us today here on the farm. I really appreciate it. Come back with us. We got a lot more hay equipment maintenance to do and different things on the farm to do. Work around the farm never stops. Really appreciate y'all being with us, and I pray you and your family have a fantastic day.